Welcome everybody to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and Attention Coach Jeff Copper, and we're here with the ADD crusher, Alan Brown. Alan, welcome to the show.
Always great to be hanging out with you, Jeff.
This is a great topic today, reframing time. I've done a lot of interviews on time. I've talked a lot about time. I coach time, but reframing time is an interesting concept. Can you tell us about it?
Well, this is what I call one of a range of practical Zen brain hacks. And what they consist of is just flipping a switch in your mind to view something in a different way, from a different perspective, that then frees you to act and to act effectively, etc. So, speaking of reframing time, I have generally two experiences of time. Normally, going through my day, running errands, driving around, doing work, whatever, minutes, 60-second packets are just flying by me, right? So Jeff and I have been talking for a while here. We've probably been chatting for a total of 10 or more minutes. That's just flown by. But on the far other extreme, I race motorcycles. And you go around a racetrack that's shaped like this, and you go over and over and over again, and you're at times at very high speeds, 160, 170 miles an hour. Other times you're a little bit slower. But the whole way around, you're trying to shave off little tenths of a second to make a lap time of what's typically, a minute 30 seconds, shorter and shorter and shorter. But the thing that I observe is that when you're in the middle of one of these laps, you realize how long a minute 30 seconds is. It's really long. So, at the risk of freaking Jeff out here, if I were to stop speaking for just 4 seconds, it's kind of painful. Imagine if I had just stopped speaking for 60 seconds. You folks would have slapped your computer shut, or Jeff would have bonked me on the head with this microphone or something. But the point is this: 60 seconds is an eternity if you view it as such. 2 minutes can be a very long time. And why is this important? Because typically we ADDers are running around with our mind's voice, which we have talked about earlier, going on about how I'm too busy to do this, I'm running around, I got to get over there, what am I doing? I don't have time to do that. And the reality is, if you could just kind of quiet down your mind a little bit and say, all right, hold on a second. A minute is actually a long time if I frame it in the right way. 2 minutes is a real long time. 5 minutes is, man, I could get a lot done there. And so if you could just kind of get into that notion of that reframing of time, you can actually sit down and say, hey, I've actually got 3 or 4 minutes here. I could reply to that email I've been meaning to do. It'll only take me a couple minutes. Or if I've got 5 minutes, hey, I can go online and actually set that doctor's appointment that I've been putting off, etc. So now the trick is, don't think that 5 minutes is going to allow you to do this, that, and that, because that's the old ADD trap, right? We think we've got all this time, and then we end up being late for our daughter's recital, right? That's not where we're going here. This is one where you feel like you're so busy you don't have time to do anything, but the reality is, if you really do have just a few minutes, you can actually stop and be present and say, I think I can get that done in a couple of minutes. Let me get that done. And now you've peeled off one of those stickies that's all over your computer, and you say, hey, I actually got that thing done. And you rip it up and throw it away. And then you might even say, I actually have another 5 minutes. Let me attack this one thing. And then you're ripping up another one. You use brain hacks like this, you're going to find, if you can make a habit of them, you got to make a habit of them, you may find that you're going to have fewer and fewer of these stickies around, and your to-do list is going to get shorter and shorter.
What really resonates for me in this is that notion of that, a minute is really a long time. And when you get that panic feeling, you're kind of going all over the place, just to kind of pause and slow down. And it really is a lot of time. And to your point, I just want to, next time for grins and giggles, watch the news. And the reporters are, whenever they're on the scene and they're interviewing somebody and it's a touchy situation, notice how the reporter will ask the question, and they will leave the microphone in front of the person for a while until the person does something. And most times the person will start talking again about something they probably don't really want to go into. But that time, that 3 or 4 second pause is an eternity for that person at that point in time. And so it's just fun to go watch, because you'll notice is that that's a really long time. It makes people uncomfortable. And if you can begin to kind of quiet your mind down a little bit and begin to notice it, it really is an awful long time. And I need to learn to pause and realize is that, 5 seconds is an eternity, but I don't have to get an hour's worth of talking in 5 minutes.
That's absolutely true. Another example of what you're talking about on TV is you're driving in your car, you're listening to the radio, and all of a sudden there's some kind of mistake, something went wrong, and you hear dead air. That's like the worst thing that can happen in the radio business, dead air. And then you're like, wait, what's going on here? And even after like just 7 seconds, you're ready to change the channel already. So again, just another example of how, but think of it this way too. When you are frantically running around and going, oh, I can't do this, I have this to do, I can't really do that now, and all this is going to, that's when packets of 60 seconds are blasting by you.
Yes.
It's when you stop and you go, hold on a second. The house is not burning down. Everything here in the now is actually pretty cool. That's when the clock just slows down.
He can do this. He's got ADD. You can do this. So great tips, Alan. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
With the key word being do.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.